Okay, great. So a website, let's get started again. A website is a place, right, where you host your own um, content. So it could be an online shop, it could be a business website, it could be any of those things. People just come there and they see what you have, right? So that's a website. Now, let's talk about the fact that also the way we have lands in the real world, that's the same way we have hosting companies in the online world. So hosting companies are like online landlords. What they basically do is that they host your website for you on a hosting service. And while they are hosting your website for you on a hosting service, they get paid to do that monthly or yearly. So you are hosting on a monthly basis or a yearly basis. Now, what you are hosting again is your website. Your website, so you have a website, you must have a domain name, right? A domain name. And a domain name is what you actually buy for, say, it depends on what you're buying. It could be 1,200 for a .com.ng, it could be .ng 6,000, it could be .org for like 7.3, it could be .com for like 5.7. So those are hosts, those are domain names. So when you buy them, it's on them that you build your website, right? It's on those domain names that you build your website, and you build those websites on a rented space called the hosting space, right? So you have an hosting account. The hosting account is like the online landlord allowing you to host your website. So when you do that, the next thing would be for you to actually be able to build the website. So you're actually building the website either using a, a, you're using direct code, just coding, or basically using a CMS, basically. So you can just learn how to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then maybe, a backend language like PHP or Python. Okay, so join in into this Zoom class if you have not started. Join in. The Zoom class has started. Please join in if you have not come in. Join in now. So, what I was saying earlier was that you're buying you're using a CMS or you're basically using raw code, right? So if you are using raw code, obviously that means you are writing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are front-end languages, basically designs you see. And then the back-end language is like our regular um, Python or PHP. Okay, and then you now learn a framework. After learning those ones, you learn a framework. The PHP Python could be Laravel. The Python framework could be Django, right? So once you are done with these things, then you can basically host your website and start building your websites, right? But for us here, we are not using any of those things. We are using a CMS. The CMS is called Content Management System. Content Management System. And there are several of them: Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, Magento. But for today, we'll focus on WordPress. WordPress is the most popular CMS in the world, and I think about 75% of the world of the world websites are built with WordPress. So we are good to go with WordPress, right? We are good to go with WordPress. So we may just not be able to cover everything here today, so as to not overwhelm us. Tomorrow we'll continue. But basically, let's start with the domain name, right? Let's start with the domain name. So this is the domain. This is where you come. You can come to a place like googlehost.ng. Can we all hear me? If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Just say I can hear you. You can come to googlehost. Just type in the chat. Type in the, not in the WhatsApp chat. So type in the Zoom chat here. I can hear you. Start typing in the Zoom chat. I can hear you. I want you to know that I'm not alone, right? So type in the Zoom chat. I can hear you. It will be nice to see that. Just type in the Zoom chat. I can hear you. Zoom chat, not WhatsApp chat. Zoom chat, please. Zoom chat. Type in the Zoom chat. I can hear you. I'd like to see that, right? So I will know that somebody can hear me. Nobody can hear me. Awesome, awesome, great, thank you. So let's move on. So I was saying that you buy a domain name. So let's say I come to wooghost.ng. You could be just Google hosting companies and you will see a whole lot of them. You see a whole lot of them. Thank you. Now you see a lot of them, right? So you can go to say for instance, wooghost.ng or qservers.net or hostgator.com, quite a host of them. You go to one of those websites, those websites, they are also websites, and then you buy a domain name there. Now, the thing about the domain name is that there's not just one hosting company in the world. There are several hosting companies in the world. So you want to say you have an idea for today now, you have an idea of fishing.com. Yeah. If you don't buy it in a hurry, somebody else in Ukraine or in Germany or in Yugoslavia or in Japan may have bought it, right? So it's important that you understand that a domain name is not only it's only accessible to one company, any on one company's website. There are several companies in the world that do hosting, and then any of them you can buy a domain name from them. So basically, you'd have to think of a domain name, and once you think of it, be quick to buy it because somebody else may have bought it. Even .com.ng, which is only the CLD extension in Nigeria, may have been bought by somebody else in Nigeria while you're thinking about it. So let's just say for this, let me just give you an example. Let me see this, and let me just put it. Let me see if somebody else has bought it. Desire.com. Just to give us an example of what I'm saying. Desire.com, and you come here and you probably see that somebody else has bought it, right? I doubt if Desire.com would be available to buy. You see, somebody else has bought it, so it's not available. But let's see if Desire.com.ng is available for purchase. Right? Okay, nobody, somebody else has bought this one too. So you understand what I'm saying? So if I do this, obviously nobody would have bought this kind of domain name, right? So you see, if I do this, obviously nobody would have bought this kind of domain name either. You see, if I do this, obviously nobody else would have bought this kind of domain name. Right? So if I want to buy another, I do this, obviously nobody else would have bought this one too. So you see what I'm saying? So you can actually buy a domain name based on what your idea, what exactly you have in mind for your business. So you see, you can actually do this too, right? Okay. I don't know why somebody else would have bought this kind of domain name. But anyway, somebody bought. So you see, there are different things you can do. There are different things you can do. You can even do .ngo, right? .ngo. .ngo. I think there's a .ngo. Let me just check there is. Okay, so .ngo sense. So you see the different prices of all those domain names, right? If you want to do .tech, .online, lots of them. So basically, you can stick with any of them, and then for the purpose of the example, let's just do .com, and then you add it to cart, right? You add it to cart. So I don't want to overwhelm with a lot of things tonight, but I'll just make it like this. Tomorrow will also be the same time, 8 o'clock. God willing, I won't be babysitting by then. My apologies for coming. This was babysitting. So yeah, so here we have it. .com, right? You can see this is available. So once you see that it's available, right, you just basically buy it. You basically buy it, add to cart, and then you move on with all those steps. They will ask you to create account when you're doing so. You create account and all that. So once you are done, you basically buy the domain name. So it's just the rest of the processes from here is basically what's it called? It's just a knife through butter. It's just it's prompt. It's based on prompts. So if you think just prompts, you do this, do this, do this, do that, and then that's the rest of the process from there. So then you move on to hosting services, right? You move on to hosting services. So let's go to the main website and go for buy an hosting service. Now, it's not compulsory that you buy an hosting service here, right? You can buy an hosting service from anywhere else. It's not compulsory, but let me just look at one of their, okay, so looking at my own services here, there should be, okay, still going back to there. I think I think the internet is pretty slow, right? So, but it's still going back there. So while we are talking about that, there's a portion called manage DNS. I would like to show us what that is. Let me show us that from Q server. I don't know what that is slow. Maybe it's my internet, or it is the net, or it is the website. I wouldn't know. But it looks like it's my internet. It looks like it's my internet because the second site I'm trying to access is also slow, right? So So while I'm waiting for you to load, how many of us have heard any of these things before? Like you've heard any of these things before, just drop it in the chat. I have heard of APC, maybe I've heard of Quick Server, so I've heard of WordPress, or I've heard of hosting, I've heard of the name. If you have heard of any of these things before, just drop it in the chat. I have heard of this. Just mention the one you have heard of before. I'm waiting, please, while we are waiting for these things to load. I'm just waiting for us to drop that. So while I'm waiting for that to load, I want to explain. Earlier I was talking about an address. An address, we could refer to a website as an address. You could also refer to a domain, a name server as an address, right? So I can buy a host domain name from Google and go and host on Q servers. And maybe it's because I feel that their hosting services are cheap, or I already have an hosting account with Q servers. There are hosting accounts called shared hosting. Shared hosting means that even on one plan, you can host up to 100 websites, right? You can host up to 100 websites on one plan. So that's what shared hosting is. I'm going to access hostgator.com and show us what I'm talking about there, right? So hostgator.com, you can look at their hosting. VPS hosting, I'm not interested in those ones. I'm looking at hosting. Let me just look at hosting. Yeah. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just drop the chat. Just say I can hear you. Can you hear me, please? I want to know if my internet is fine. Am I alone here? If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Just say I can hear you. If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Nobody can hear me. Okay, awesome. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Okay, great. So I was asking earlier, can I say, okay, I'm not saying I can hear you here. Just say I can hear you. If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. I'm purposely checking in with everyone occasionally so that I know that I'm not alone, right? I know I'm not alone, right? So, okay, awesome. Thank you. So basically, if this thing cuts off, we'll just resume again. If it does, right? We just resume again. Okay, so look at the schedule thing here. $2.05 per month. It's not doesn't exactly mean that's how much you be paying per month. You'll be paying like $11.95 per month, which is like 5,400 thereabout. 5,400, 5,500. It's not more than that. So that's how much you pay. But for a start, you pay $2.05. That's the first month. Then the second month, you keep paying another. So if you buy a shared hosting, right? Yeah, so it tells you, it reflects on the invoice of the discount on the first invoice, so that's the first month, basically. So just say move on, right? Let me just not waste time on that, but you can basically buy any of those. So let me log into this one and show you what I meant by name servers, right? So let me show you what I meant by name servers. Okay, so this some of the domains I have with these people. I use Q servers to buy domain names. I also use who goes to buy the minutes, but I host on HostGator. I host on HostGator every time. Host on HostGator every time because I have a shared hosting there. So when I click on manage name servers, you will see that the name server that I have has HostGator in it. I bought the domain name from Q servers, and then I am hosting on. Can you see it? I'm hosting on HostGator. I'm hosting domain name on HostGator. That's why I have to come here and pick the name servers and put the name servers here rather. So I'm just to come here and pick the name servers and put them here. Okay, so let me go on to my hosting account, right? With HostGator. So I'll have to pause pre-sharing for a little while to show us that. Just a while, a little longer. Just a little longer, please. Just hold while I do this. Okay, so now I logged into my cPanel. Now, when you buy a domain name and you buy a hosting account, they give you a cPanel, right? So they send you the details of the cPanel. They send it into your email address. Now, those details are very private. You don't need to show it to anybody. That's why I posted the screen share earlier to be able to get that and then now access my cPanel. So we bought that domain name earlier. That domain name we're trying to buy earlier. Let's say the domain name is edeyemibadmus.com. We bought the domain name earlier. We remember, right? So the domain name we're trying to buy, dhhh.com that we're testing out. We bought that domain name earlier. Can we remember, right? If you remember, just say I remember. I remember. Just remember, just say I remember, please, so I can know you are with me. It's important to keep checking so that you are with me and you are not sleeping on it, right? And it's important to also make this quite a little brief so that you won't exactly be overwhelmed, because by the next time we're going to the next class, we're going full throttle into the into the web design part full throttle, right? So tonight may just be 30 minutes, basically to help us understand these foundational things. It's important to build a foundation for it. So just say something, say something, say something. Say something, just say something. Like I'm following or I remember, just say one of those two things. If you remember what I was asking, just say I remember. Like, or nobody remembers, or is it that nobody is here? I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Just say I remember, I remember. Say I remember. I'm waiting. Say I remember. Nobody's saying I remember. Or is it that you don't remember? If you don't remember, say I don't remember. Like I'm talking about when I. Okay. You just joined. Can you beat that? Okay, so the recording, I will make it available. I'll make it available in the group for everybody who just joined. You also get the recording in the group. But I just need to know, like, okay, just type I'm following. If you are following, just say I'm following. Just say I'm following. Because if you can't remember, I don't know what I want to, where I want to start again. But if you can't remember this and you have been here, say I can't remember. But if you are following, say I'm following. Right. Thank you, sir. But can you remember, sir? Okay, I'm following. Okay, good, good. All right, no problem. But if you can't remember, I'll still make available the video in the chat. I'll make the video available in the WhatsApp group, and we can all watch it again, right? So great. So let's move on. Yeah, let's move on. I will now go on to talk about how to incorporate that domain name into your, if you have bought the domain name from, let's say this is HostGator and I bought the domain name from HostGator, that domain name, right? This domain name, I bought it from HostGator. The name server that will be under it would already be this one, NS8161 blah blah blah, and this one too. You know, that's what I now came to point here. I came to point it here to this domain name. So I pointed this domain name rather to this name servers. I pointed this domain name to this name servers. And these are the name servers here, right here. Can you see it? So I pointed this domain name to this hosting in on HostGator. This domain name I bought at Q servers. I pointed it to this hosting at HostGator. So when I pointed it here, when I point it here rather, there won't be a problem at all. So I can now go on to Addon Domain. Addon Domain. So if I go into Addon Domain, I will now add the domain name, right? I'll add the domain name. So I'll come here. And that domain name we're trying to buy, we assume we bought it. So we'll just add the domain name here. That's it. Just add the domain name. Once you have type the domain, let's say it is, this thing we're trying to buy. We're trying to buy desire d h or d something. That's what we're trying to buy. So assume we've bought it, yes, and then we've done the name server like this one, right? To change the name server is just simple. When you want to change the name server, you have bought a domain name. Let's say you bought it from Q server and want to go sit on HostGator. It's no problem, you can do that. So just come here and then come on manage name server. When you come on manage server, let's assume that's the domain name you bought. Then instead of the thing will be here by default. Instead of that, you just put it here and then you type the name server from your HostGator. You type it. That one will mention it. Type it here, and that's it. Once you have typed it, you just save. That one will show the header. So that's it. So once you have done, then you now bring the domain name here and click on Addon Domain, and then decide that you click on Add Domain. That's all. That's all you need to do to add the domain name. Now, let me state it clearly that you may be buying the domain name from Q servers and also be hosting on Q servers. When you are doing that, you don't need to be changing name servers here on most occasions, because the default name server will still be the default one for the hosting, so everything will be fine, right? So I just needed to state that clearly. I need to state that very clearly. So you're fine. But even if you bought from the same company, you still have to come and do the add-on domain here. So add domain, right? So once you have added domain, you will see the domain being added. You see the several domains I've added to this hosting account. You see several domains, plenty of them I've added, right? So you just add on the domain there. So once you are done adding on the domain, when I've done it, you don't add domain. I click it, it will show here. So you have done that part, right? So it's fine. It's fine. Then you come back to cPanel, right? You come back to cPanel, and then once you've come back to cPanel, the next thing you will just do is basically look for quick install or WordPress. Some cPanels will have it as quick install, some will have it as WordPress. So just go to quick install. Once you go to quick install, you will now be able to add the domain name. And you'll be able to add WordPress to the domain name rather. So just click on install WordPress. Some of the designs on some hosting accounts may not look like this, but they are basically the same idea, the same format, right? So you just click on install WordPress. So that means you are installing WordPress on that domain, right? You're installing WordPress on that domain. Let's be very clear about that. Install WordPress for free. So you install WordPress, right? So let's pick a domain name. Let's say this is the domain name and I just bought it. Let's say this domain name I just bought. After I've clicked on add-on domain, that's when I come here. I do add-on domain first. After doing add-on domain, then I come here. So after I've done add-on domain, I've added on the domain, then I now come here, right? And let's say the domain name I added on was alsosa.org. I'll click on the domain name. I will find it here and I'll click on it. I will only find it here if I have done add-on domain. That add-on domain I did it. If I have done it, then I'll find it. If I have not done add-on domain to add the domain, to the hosting. At add-on domain, I had the domain to the hosting. If I had done add-on domain and I have used the add-on domain process to add the domain to the hosting, then I'll find that domain I have added here. But if I have not done add-on domain to add the domain to the hosting, I won't find it here. So for all these domain names here, I have done add-on domain to add all of them to the hosting. That's why I can find them here. So after doing add-on domain, let's say for hosta.com.org, yeah, after doing add-on domain for it, I found it here. So because I've done add-on domain for it, I've been able to find it here. So I click this, right? And then when I click this, I'm able to type the email address here, type the title here, type the add-on admin username here. Anything could be admin username, anything could be first name and last name, anything could be blog title. The blog title is basically the title of your website. Basically, you say your website, your company name is abandc.com. So what I'll basically do is just type abandc.com and that will be it, right? I'll just type abandc.com and that will be it. So I hope you are getting it. I hope we're getting it. Just type abandc.com and that will be it. And that would have sorted it, right? So, and then after I'm done with everything, I just click on install WordPress. I click on install WordPress, and that will be, the WordPress will be installed. So once it's installed, we are good. Once it's installed, we are good. Then we can start building the domain name. Once I've done install WordPress, you'll be able to see a link that looks something like this. addonbadmos.com/wp admin. Okay, so that's the kind of link you'll be able to see. So once you click on it, it will give you the username and password. Once I've installed WordPress, please listen to me clearly. Once I've installed WordPress, it will go through and then it will show me the link and the username and the password. The username is based on what I fill here, right? Admin user. And then it's very case sensitive, and the password is it just manufactures the password for me on its own, right? So manufacture the password for me on its own. Then I click on. So once it all installs there, I just click on the link, which will be the website, /wp-admin, just like we did here. Okay, and then I click on it. After clicking on it, it comes to here, and here I'm able to log in, right? I'm able to log in. So basically that's how we do that. So after you've done that, you'll be able to have this kind of interface. You'll be able to have this kind of interface. So don't let it confuse you, or don't let it look too complex to you. It's not a problem. By tomorrow, we'll be breaking down all of these things, and we'll be building a website full scale. So before we go on before we call it a night, because I said we're using 30 minutes, it's 32 minutes already. I don't want to overwhelm us, because this is just the foundation. After we've laid this foundation, then we'll go on to build the house, right? We'll go on to build the house. But we've laid this foundation correctly. And for people who are not present in the class today, you'll be able to see the recording, and via the recording, you'll be able to, have a full grasp of what we did here today. So for those of us who came late, it's fine. You'll be able to have a full grasp of what you have done here in the recording. So do you have questions? I don't want to overwhelm us. Do you have questions? And before you ask your question, let me ask you this question. Have you seen any of these things here before? Any of these things I've mentioned, any of these things I have said here tonight, have you seen it before? That's my question. That's my number one question. Number two, was this worth your time? Was this class worth your time? So yes, I have seen it before, and yes, this class was worth my time. Or no, I have not seen it before, and no, this class was not worth my time. Or yes, I've seen it before, but no, this class was not worth my time. Or no, I've not seen it before, but yes, this class was worth my time. Just answer those two questions quite fast, so that we can round up, because I know some people sleep before 10. So let's answer. Drop it in the Zoom chat. Please. Let's drop it in the Zoom chat. I'm with you all here. Yes, I have seen some of this before, and no, the class was not worth my time. Or no, I have not seen some of this before, and yes, the class was not worth my time. Just basically answer those two questions like that, and let's move on. Okay, no, not seen before. Then was the class worth your time? Was it worth your time? Yes or no? Feel free to say no, please. It makes me improve the next time. And if you say yes to, well, my head will swell. It also makes me improve the next time too. So, was it worth your time? Yes or no? Say yes, it was worth my time. No, it was not worth my time. Let's make it quick and interactive. Quick. Well, if we are going to have this class on a Saturday, we'll make it 12 o'clock. That's if well. Okay, it's only Madam Yewande that's answering. No, any other person you want to answer, make it quick. Please answer. Right? I said 30 minutes. We've done 35 minutes now. Pretty good though. But I don't want this to overwhelm anybody. So the max we do in the class is 1 hour. The 30 minutes is also good, because I've been able to give so much things, so many things that you've not heard before in this class. You've probably not heard before. So it's okay if it's just 30 minutes, so that you can be able to, imbibe all of this. Okay, so it's fine. I'll put this recording in the class, and then I'll ask these questions in the class. Who has a question before we round up? Who has a question? Who has a question? Who has a question? Any question before we round up? Okay, no questions. No questions. No questions. No questions. Okay, so it's all right then. Since there are no questions, uh, we just call it tonight then. Though I feel that not everybody is participating, because if everybody is participating, then there will be questions. If everybody is participating, Miss Yeman, they will not be the only one answering me. If everybody is participating, I would have a lot of feedbacks right now. If everybody is participating, people will be telling me, okay, what did you say? What did you say there? Okay, so um, it's fine, not a problem. So I guess I will see you tomorrow, and then we'll do the part B, which is the concluding part of this class. So please do rewatch this thing if you were not here from the beginning. And if you were here, please watch it again. And for everybody in the group, watch it, take notes, and then I'll see you tomorrow. So have a swell night. Thank you.